Hello, everyone. It's about 6:10 or 6:11 right now. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Everyone, thank you for your patience. This is the October DAB meeting for District 1. With that call to order, we have an agenda that's actually out there. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Make the motion.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any questions, discussions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Jamie, can you unmute to vote, please, or put it in the chat?
Okay, aye.
And Michaela, I see you too.
Hey,
Michaela voted through
very
chat.
good. Fantastic. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to the approval of the September minutes. Is there a motion someone would like to make? Has been moved. Second. And seconded. Thank you very much. Any discussions, corrections, anything of that nature? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move forward. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Mila, did you get what you needed?
Yes, they're voting in the chat.
Perfect, fantastic. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to staff reports. As I understand, I believe that we have all of our staff reports that are going to be online. And with that, we'll go ahead and start off with the fire department.
Can everyone hear Aaron okay? Fire department? He thumbs up. So Hiddle, if you have to unmute.
Yep, we're good. Everybody good? Everybody hear me?
Thank you.
Awesome. So for the record, my name's Lieutenant Toothaker, son of Firehouse 10, 2950 East 21st. Wanted to start off with some good news. As of right now, we have no new reports from our fire investigation unit. So either that's because it hasn't been updated yet, or we haven't had any significant loss to property in District 1 over the course of September. So that is good news. As we all know, Mayor Whipple announced our fire safety week, and October is the fire safety month. The theme this year is serve up fire safety in the kitchen. I know it's been well received by the community, and hopefully with everything that's kind of been going on with the COVID, you'll start seeing a little bit more of us out and about to be able to do our annual fire prevention. So excited to do that, be ready to get out and start kind of mingling with the community again. So with that, I know I made comment last month. Cooler weather's right around the corner. I know it's kind of hard to believe, but the last several mornings have been hoodie weather, which is outstanding. So again, we wanted to recommend that have homeowners contact a local HVAC contractor licensed to have their furnaces serviced. And as well as if anybody's got a fireplace, to go on and contact a licensed contractor to come out and have those inspected and cleaned. And so with that, I know it's kind of a short little presentation for you guys, but this time I'll stand for any questions.
Not sure that we have any questions, but what a fantastic situation to not have any new reports. So
That is always a good thing. We'll take it.
that continue. Any other questions, comments? Sir, thank you very much for your service.
Thank you guys. Looking forward to next month.
All right. Mila, do we have another fire? Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and move on to staff report number 2, Wichita Police Department.
Villegas, if you want to go.
Yeah, I'll go. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Good. Well, we're trying to increase some communication with the community by interacting a little bit more with district advisory groups and our city council members. So throughout the entire course of this conversation, if you guys have any questions for us, feel free. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and put them in the comments and we'll get back to you through that. And we'll answer any questions you guys have. If there's anything you think we need to be doing better, by all means, let us know. for Patrol South is where I patrol mostly, the South Bureau. And in that area for District 1 is kind of the area just south of Douglas between pretty much the Broadway area, River area, all the way over to Hydraulic. As far as the recent cases that we've been seeing a handful of auto thefts. We just like to remind people to make sure that their vehicles are locked. There haven't really been any running vehicles recently, but I know that as the cooler weather starts to come up, back to school, kids are forgetting things inside the house. We run back in for a minute. We just want to make sure that everyone's aware that some vehicles are being taken from residential areas, and just to keep an eye out for things like that. Last month, I did report on some larceny from autos involving firearms, and unfortunately, the trend has gone up. We'd just like to remind everybody that if you have a firearm or you own a weapon, and it's left in your car, it's always important to either take it back inside your house when you're finished with your travels, or if you're going to store it in your vehicle, make sure it's stored in a safe and locked container. Several of our firearm partners, retailers around the city, have $20 lock boxes that are just small, and they cable down to the floorboard of your vehicle, and it's a deterrent for people not to break into cars and steal those firearms, making them more accessible to those who really don't need to have them in our neighborhoods. So with that, I'll defer to Officer Stark to get Patrol North's viewpoints. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Around the room, don't see any. Thank you very much for your service.
I
Jane's
have
got
a question.
Yeah.
A question
Jen.
from the audience?
Uh-huh.
I don't know who to ask in the police department. I'm wondering if anybody tracks crashes that involve people on bicycles or on foot. Is that anybody's job?
Well, that's something that we would certainly look into when it pertains to a specific area. If we see a high number of accidents involving pedestrians or bicycles, that's something that we can use our records management system to narrow down and filter. And then we can look at trends to see if it was intersection related, if it's just accidental error related, but things like that. We don't really have anyone specifically in charge of just that one particular area, unless we have a concern brought up to us for more of a specific area that we can look to either increase enforcement or do some kind of traffic engineering to make that area more safer.
Sort of one-on-one then.
Right, correct.
Overall
Case by case.
perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, officer.
You're welcome. Stark?
All right, yes, I'm Officer Stark. I'm up at Patrol North. Basically, the stat-wise, we're down most areas. We will start seeing a rise in auto thefts in our region. So far, none of them have been running vehicles, but as cold weather gets here, that will inevitably happen. So obviously, reach out to everybody, tell them not to warm their vehicles. I know it's hard, but we need to stop that. That's how the vehicles are getting taken. Some good work that we've done at Patrol North. Last week, for about a month and a half, we've been tracking a theft ring. They live over in the 1300 Sprucious, somewhere in there. Last week, we set up a special assignment. We tracked them. We got them leaving a store with stolen merchandise, followed them back to their house, executed a search warrant, and we recovered about $13,000 to $15,000 worth of stolen merchandise, and that's just the merchandise that still had tags and theft devices still on them. So we shut them down. We arrested 4 in that incident and got them off the streets. We're also going to utilizing a lot more bike patrol up north. You probably have seen us more and more on bikes. That's going to be a reoccurring theme. Most of the team is now certified, so we'll be out on bikes a lot more. We're getting a lot of positive feedback, a lot of pedestrians stopping and saying thank you for being on bikes, just because it puts us out there more in a visual aspect and in the neighborhood itself. So we're getting a lot of feedback, positive feedback from that.
What kind of certificate did you get?
Yes.
What does it say?
The what?
What does your certificate say?
Which one? The bike certificate
Yeah.
that I'm certified in bike?
There's no more training wheels, right?
Training wheels. I have to wear a helmet, but I'm a big boy now.
So,
Surprisingly, they let me have a bike because I wrecked too many vehicles, so they have to put me on a bike. So, but besides that, we're in the cleanup for Patrol North. We have a lot of cleanups we've been working on, getting a lot of good volunteers out there for that. So I appreciate you, Camila, for reaching out for all that. All of them went smooth. We still have some this month, but that's all I've got of Patrol North. If you don't have any questions for me.
Look around the room, I don't see any questions. Any questions out in the community? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Take care.
Pause and take attendance off of Zoom. Is this Sam Smith actually you? And you can unmute or say something in the chat. I see Lonnie, right? I see Jane Burns, and the rest are DAB members or city staff. All right.
Good enough?
Sam's not gonna sing anything for us?
It's okay.
What does Sam say?
It says Sam Smith.
Very good.
I can't sing, I won't.
What's your? All right, with that, we'll go ahead and move forward with the Wichita Public Library, please.
Thank you. Camila, you got that information about which programs were going to be recorded and available. Do I need to cover that?
You don't have to cover, but I will put it in the minutes.
Okay, that's great. So just briefly, the library is doing almost exclusively virtual programs. Some, but not all, will be recorded and made available on the library's YouTube page. It depends on if the presenter is willing to give permission to have their work archived and made available to the public. And some things like book discussions, they won't be recorded and archived because those really aren't something that people would be interested in going back and looking at later. So quickly, there are a number of virtual programs happening in October. I will just mention one, business planning for nonprofits on Saturday, October 24th, 1 to 2:30 in the afternoon. We'll show the steps needed to plan a successful nonprofit business. Our programs are all being done on Zoom. We will send you an email the day before and also the day of the event with the login information, and you can learn more about the programs and register on our website. We have a lot of information on our website under research tools for how to become an informed voter. You can learn about the election process, see how much time you have left to register to vote, when you can get your advanced ballots out in the mail, when early voting will occur, all of that available on our website. November is Kansas Reads to Preschoolers Month. In most years at this point in time, I would be busy trying to get my children's librarian scheduled to go out to all sorts of daycares and schools to read to the children. Obviously, we're not doing that this year. We still are having the program. We do have the book selected. It's called Groovy Joe, Ice Cream and Dinosaurs by Eric Litwin. And if you go to the library's website, to our ebooks page, you can find the book for free through Scholastic Bookflix. Our children's librarian went down today to record a segment, so we will have some videotapes or virtual programming to go along with the Kansas Reads to Preschoolers this year, since we cannot do any in-person outreach. Excuse me. And finally, we are having our big read, but it will be in January and February of next year, and the programs will be virtual. I don't have any more details about programs. I can tell you that the book is Circe by Madeline Miller, and there will be more information coming up on the website about programs and activities for our annual big read. And that's all I've got. If anyone has any questions.
Looking around the room. questions? Anyone online? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
We'll move on to Park and Rec, please.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, this is Corey, director over at McAdams Recreation Center. Have some District 1 highlights for the rec centers in the area. I will start off with Woodard. Woodard has hosted a Kansas Recreation and Park Association playground maintenance course at Atwater. They had it on Thursday, October 1st. They had about 15 people in attendance, and this is the first time they ever had this event at Atwater. Their rental revenue is going good. They have about 6 of the 7 days of the week that they're currently renting out for basketball rentals and soccer. They're going to have a 7th day starting in late October. Staff and Angelo are currently working on adaptive programming that they're going to be putting in for the winter session that starts in January. All right, I'll move to Edgemoor. Edgemoor splash pad is looking good. It should be finished by next summer. There's a pickleball enthusiasts that are raising money to get lights up at Edgemoor, and they had their 4th annual Bob Jackson pickleball tournament was held. They had about 108 players. They also had 12 additional teams that are on a waiting list. So they had a pretty big turnout this year, and they raised over $3,000. And they're looking for ways to make money every year. Their fall classes over at Edgemoor are doing pretty good, especially their fitness and yoga classes. All right, I got Linwood. Linwood worked with Camila, and they got the virtual fireside chat going, which Councilman Brandon Johnson and WPD Community Police Officer Dustin discussed community news, issues, and concerns with Linwood, senior center members via Zoom conference call. The Linwood Senior Center has not yet reopened due to the COVID-19 concerns. Linwood is also one of the 5 sites partnering with the Central County Election Office to provide election ballot drop boxes for this upcoming presidential election. And their park usage has increased due to the options the public has to do during the COVID-19 pandemic as well. Last but not least, McAdams. The McAfee swimming pool is coming together. It will be completed by next summer. Our fitness classes are doing really good. We're pretty much full in every class. We can only take 15, and it's been doing pretty well. And I also wanted to talk about our basketball shootout that's coming up. It's for middle school, high school, and adults. $5 to come and, for a free throw and 3-point contest. And it'll be November 21st. And that's all I got. Anybody have any questions?
Look around the room. Yes, please. Wanda.
Corey, this is LaWanda. Are we not having limit sizes at, in the gyms at McAdams or either over there at,
Edgemoor, Linwood, Woodard.
yeah, Woodard?
It's a fit. You asking how many people can be in the gym?
Yes. Corey,
The limit is 15. So every rec center right now with the COVID pandemic going on, the limit is 15 in the gym until October 21st, and it changes.
Oh, I know one coach is doing, like they run their first squad and then the other squad, they switch out. Specifically, Angela told me that's what's going on in Woodard.
Yeah.
What
And our
happens
fit.
their rentals? They rent, like half their rental is one group,
Mm-hmm.
half their rental is the other.
Yeah. And what was that?
What happens October 21st?
The county guidelines when, if our COVID numbers are low, how we can increase the different phases the city is moving in based on COVID numbers.
So we won't know until the 21st.
Correct.
Yeah. And we give everybody update when we find out what comes down, and we can give it to everybody.
Okay.
Very good. Any other questions?
Corey, check your cell phone. I text you.
Okay, I'll do it.
Seeing no other questions, we'll go ahead and move on. Let's see.
Anyone from Zoom have questions for Park and Rec?
Okay. Assuming none, there are no scheduled items on the agenda. So now is the opportunity, if you didn't have anything that was on the agenda and you wanted to talk about it, as we move into item 6 off agenda items, now would be the appropriate time. Anyone from the audience, the community, have anything they need to talk about?
Go, Jay. We see Jane.
I want to just say that this is Walktober. Did you notice it was a gorgeous day today? Gorgeous. And that's Walktober weather. So there will be a proclamation at tomorrow morning's city council meeting proclaiming this gorgeous weather and what we ought to do in it. We ought to walk for our health, for our recreation, for our mental sanity. Does that count?
Yeah.
So that's my news.
Thanks, Jane. Anyone else? With that, we'll go ahead and move into council member updates. So, Councilmember Johnson. Sorry.
Can everybody hear me from here?
Can you do a thumbs up if you can hear him? Dave, can you hear Councilmember Johnson?
Yep, we're hearing fine. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, I won't get up and walk around this week. One cool thing, so we heard from Corey today, just to let you all know, we'll hear from our different directors of our rec centers every month. So they're gonna start rotating, so everybody can get to know our directors if you don't know them already. First up, we have a new DAB member here today, Mr. Joseph Tex Dozier. He also believes in saucy nugs, so he's good. You want to take a second and give everybody just a welcome? And
Yeah, well, I appreciate the appointment, Councilman Johnson. I moved to Wichita a couple of years ago. My better half, she's a professor at Wichita State. I kind of work here, there, and everywhere in politics with a lot of political nonprofits. And I'm down in the Crown Heights neighborhood, and I hit it all very well with Councilman Johnson right when I moved, and been giving him, sending questions to him and thoughts, and he's put up with my thoughts sometimes. We've had great discussions, and so I reached out recently, as this looks like it's gonna be our long-term home, saying, hey, we're already talking so much about things, and I care so much about my neighborhood. Happy to serve in this capacity if I can. So I love Wichita. It reminds me of where I grew up in many ways, Fort Worth. A lot of challenges, just on a different scale, but similar opportunities for growth at the same time. So look forward to working with y'all.
We'll try to go to midnight at least one time for you. Let's see, other than that, I heard voting earlier. Just want to highlight the Urban League of Kansas is a voter registration site right now. You can register to vote for this election up until the 13th. And then after that, hopefully you are registered, but if not, you can register for the next election still. If you cannot get to the Urban League, remember you can go to ksvotes.org and register to vote, and also request an advance ballot.
Councilmember, all 3 of your neighborhood resource centers also have voter registration cards and computers to register to vote.
And every neighborhood resource center has that as well. And in addition to that, Urban League is also going to be a polling location this year for the election. So if you live in that neighborhood, you might check and make sure that might be your polling place. Just going off some updates I sent out. If you received the newsletter, if you had not, most people had heard we lost another pillar in this community. Mr. Mike Kennard passed away last week. A lot of folks knew him as Picture Man, other folks knew him as a mentor, some knew him as a ref, some knew him as a business professional, candidate for Congress, school board member. Mike was a lot of things, and Danielle and I are definitely praying for him, but I want to encourage everybody, if you didn't know what he did, to go Google My Picture Man and check out his website and all of the history that he was able to catalog over his years doing photography in our community. It's amazing to look at. You'll see a lot of familiar folks in there. So definitely check that out if you have a chance. Again, you can Google My Picture Man. Normally it's the first thing that pops up, and you'll see that website. But it's a wonderful website. Check it out and keep him in your thoughts, or his family in your thoughts and prayers. Tomorrow, the city council will be voting on new economic development policies. Some that I'm really excited about. We're starting to do more for the medium-sized business, getting down towards the small business, and looking at trying to put dollars into areas of our community that need it. So one of the things that I'm most excited about is the origination fee. So we have CIDs throughout the community, and the CID normally is dollars invested back within a certain area of infrastructure. So if we look at 13th and Greenwich, some of the CID work out there went into some of the traffic lanes and traffic lights. And one of the things that we've been saying for a while is, what about investing those dollars in the areas that needed a little bit more? So this origination fee, if it passes tomorrow, will be a fee that is negotiated with the developer at the time, and will be able to be invested back into, right now the focus will be affordable housing through the potential land bank that's coming. And with that, we'll be able to get property and keep housing prices low enough for folks to where they can afford it. So some of the great work that you see from Habitat for Humanity, Power CDC, Mennonite Housing, that would be the type of development we're looking for with this origination fee. So I'm excited about that. There's a few more details in there, but tune in tomorrow morning for the council meeting about that. And then just to highlight, I can't remember what the administration is doing right now. I think today might be the last day for the census, according to them. There was a judicial ruling for the end of October. So rather than question, just go take it. So if you can get on right now, my2020census.gov, or after the DAB meeting, make sure you take the census. If you know folks who have not taken it, please let them know that for every 1% of the Kansas population that goes uncounted, the state of Kansas will lose about $603 million over the next decade. So again, if they have not taken the census, make sure that they take it. All of the programs that many of us care about and some rely on, like affordable housing, community centers, fire stations, health clinics, job training, literacy programs, parks, roads, schools, veteran programs, all of that gets funded through funding that comes from the federal government. So again, every person counts. Please make sure you get counted. And if you have questions, please reach out, or you can go to the census website for the frequently asked questions section. And then second to last, if you own a small business, please remember that you have up until the 7th to apply for CARES funding through the county, up to $5,000. The last I checked, they still have money available for that. So if you're a business that was impacted by COVID-19 and lost business and are hurting, that's up to $5,000 that can help you out as you try to sustain through the fall and continue some growth next year. So if you haven't applied, please go do so. We did put that in the newsletter. There's also a link on the Facebook page as well that we shared, and we'll make sure we reshare that again in case you're interested. Or you can go to sedgwickcares.force.com and the application should be on there. And then lastly, we have Halloween coming up. I won't see you again until after Halloween. There has been a lot of discouragement around the close interaction that Halloween tends to bring. So having buckets of candy that everybody can reach into is discouraged. There's a lot of things that has been suggested as far as doing lower risk things, maybe at home, virtual Halloween costume contests, decorating your house or apartment or living space, carving pumpkins with folks in your house, having a scavenger hunt in your house or around your house with people who live in your house, again, so you're not having contact with other folks. And it does suck this year. It has sucked all year to not have all the activities that we normally have. But again, this is a short-term sacrifice. We will get back to some form of normalcy soon, but right now it's still too important to just drop all of that and go out and have fun willy-nilly. This is still a serious issue, and we have to take our responsibilities, or in my opinion, our responsibilities to look out for one another, not get too close, wear our masks, socially distance, and even through Halloween and maybe even Thanksgiving, still keep those distances. Again, it's a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, and this is a short-term sacrifice. And we've seen too many people pass away as this being a part of that, to ignore it. So those are my updates. I don't think I have anything else coming up, other than if you don't have a mask, you can come to a resource center at Water, Evergreen, or Colvin and get a cloth one, reusable, for free, and even some more resources that you might need. So with that, I will pause or end for questions.
How are we looking for census participation and separate in Wichita?
The last number I saw was really good. It was around 90%. I think we're going up from there. But I still haven't figured out, is that 90% compared to what was counted a decade ago or new estimates? So that's a question that I probably should ask, but we were around 90%. The state of Kansas was doing well. Sedgwick County, I think, was doing better than the state. And most of Wichita was doing much better than we were maybe 2 or 3 months ago when I started really trying to push.
If I may add, one of the census staff member, Mr. Jason Dean, emailed to let us know that he is staying on to help tabulate. And so he'll be able to share more Sedgwick County and local data with us. And so he's been around since the beginning of the count this year. And he was excited for that. He also mentioned they did a lot of proxy. So if you didn't take your survey, they would ask your neighbor how many people live next door. And so a way to try to count that also. So he's really been trying to keep us in the loop.
So far, so good. Any questions online?
Anyone on Zoom have questions for council members or comments? I just have to capture Facebook's later. After the delay.
Council member,
Yes, sir.
I would also mention that Sedgwick County is giving away free protective equipment to businesses, and the applications for that is also this Friday. So $5,000 and protective equipment applications in by this Friday.
Thank you for that, Lonnie. For those who don't know, Lonnie is Wichita's most informed citizen. About that. He attends almost every meeting, so definitely appreciate that, Lonnie. That's it for me.
All right. With that, we'll go ahead and move into new business. And instead of Kathy, I think we've got Dave, you're up. Dave, would you like to go ahead and take a stab at it?
All right, good evening. Yeah, Kathy's covering another DAB tonight. We've got another member at another DAB tonight. So that's just the way it goes. Okay, well, thank you, Camille. I appreciate that. You see on the screen the staff report. This request is for the rezoning of the property at the southwest corner of 3rd and Hillside. It's the property at 357 North Hillside. It's a single-family home, presently zoned B multifamily. The applicant is requesting to rezone that to general office. In the narrative, you can see what is proposed is what's being called the Slumber Party Place. This happens to be, ironically, one of our planning commission members that's established this business, and they're wanting to convert this house, and they've been doing a lot of work to bring it up to code. And the intent is to have it as a rental available for families who are wanting to have essentially an overnight entertainment venue for kids, and they're targeting ages 5 to 18. And as in the narrative, there is things that they'll have available in that facility. The intent is to have this available for use rather than going and renting a hotel room or perhaps doing it in your own home. Under the zoning code, by definition, and we've worked with this for a long time, the closest way to fit it into that is as a classification as a hotel or motel, since the intent will be to have the ability for the kids to spend the night. So they will be lodged overnight. That under the zoning code is allowed in the GO district. It could occur in other districts and commercial districts like LC or GC. And that does exist up and down Hillside, as many of you are well aware. But the idea was to go GO where this is first allowed, which that way it does not open up that particular location into other more intensive retail or commercial uses if approved. The only condition in the code that is an issue is the fact that the supplementary use regulations do require a minimum lot size of 25,000 square feet. This lot does not have that much space. This is essentially a standard 50 by 140 foot lot, which is 7,000 square feet. So they are asking in the rezoning to ask the city council, if granted, to also waive that supplementary use standard, which can be done in the approving ordinance if approved. So that's what they're asking to do. If any of you have driven by the property or are familiar with it, you kind of know where we are. You're just a block south of Central and right on Hillside. We outlined the staff report, kind of the other uses around there. To my knowledge, I talked to Kathy today. We've had, to my knowledge, only one phone call from neighboring landowner who called shortly after the letters were sent out about the public hearing scheduled for this Thursday. And that lady was primarily confused because she thought we were rezoning her property. And we explained, no, that was not happening. And then she had no problems with it. She was just glad to see something going on there. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody has. We are recommending approval with the waiver of the standard for the minimum lot size.
Thank you. Looking around the room, any questions, comments? Okay.
I have a naive question as a new DAB member. If you can just enlighten me, if we approve this with a supplementary use D6 waiver in the city of Wichita, does that then carry over to a future property owner and user? Or if they wanted to come back, because under GO, I was seeing that it can be a group home, a correctional placement residence, a concrete plant. Do they have to come back to the city council to do other uses within GO?
No, the waiver would only be to the minimum lot size for a hotel or motel, because that's the only one that applies with that citation. And if zoned, the zoning runs with the land. We do not zone people, we zone land. So anything that's attached to the zoning on this property would run with the land irrespective of future owners.
Thank you.
So it would be, so that's a yes,
Yeah.
the waiver runs with the property.
But just for motel, hotel, not for the other.
Yes.
Very good. Good question. Anybody else got questions? Look around the room.
I gotta make sure my notes are right. So it's yes, the waiver runs with the property as long as it's hotel motel?
That's correct.
Very good.
And all other uses would have to come back and forth.
Right. It reminds me like bed and breakfast.
That's what I was
For
thinking.
kids, that's what I thought of. I think that's an easier way to explain to the community. When you say hotel motel, people are like, whoa.
So that was gonna be my question. Are there other zonings that specify bed and breakfast versus a hotel motel? Because that's what it sounds like to me, not an actual hotel.
So Dave, do you have any other bed and breakfast style zonings here?
Well, this doesn't qualify as a bed and breakfast because it's not a bed and breakfast.
We know that
They're not-
around Wichita, are there other like bed and breakfast zonings?
Most of the bed and breakfasts require a conditional use, so they're done on a case-by-case basis. You get into higher commercial zones, some of that, they are allowed by right, so there would be a zoning case involved.
Oh, if it's limited commercial, they wouldn't have to, is basically what I interpret. Is that correct? Like if it was limited commercial or commercial property already, they wouldn't have to have the conditional?
Well, it depends on the base zoning, but if you're dealing with a piece of property that's zoned limited commercial or general commercial. As I recall, you can do a bed and breakfast by right. In this case, the base zone right now is B multifamily, which if they were wanting to do a bed and breakfast would take a conditional use, but they wouldn't be able to do what they're proposing to do with the conditional use. They have to rezone.
A little bit, because I see and read this as GO being proposed for the sleepover part, and so my mind went to bed and breakfast also. But my additional question would be, would there be an opportunity, or should there be some type of wording to propose not removing the parking lot? I see the only thing, in my mind, the only thing that would probably be a nuisance on the community or surrounding area would be the fact that parking lot would lessen as they start building or reconstruction or whatever.
Dave, do you know how many parking spaces we're losing?
Okay, I did not fully understand or could not hear well, so you're going to have to repeat the question.
Are there any parking spaces that will be lost?
No, in fact, they are making improvements on the lot on the west side to accommodate additional parking. There are no additions to the existing structure at all. All the improvements are internal.
Similar question to the bed and breakfast point. I'm looking at the city's zoning uses under GO. Hotel motel is subject to D6, but bed and breakfast is not. What is the reason we can't just qualify this as a bed and breakfast if it's under GO?
Because by definition, it does not qualify as a bed and breakfast. It runs under, we had a long conversation with the applicant, also with the zoning administrator and law department and everybody. And under the way the code is written, this is the only category in which we can place this.
Cool. I just worry about risk, like the future user just takes, I mean, that's a 1.15 acre, it's like 6,500 square feet.
Right.
And builds a crazy hotel right there.
Any other questions in the room?
What?
It's all right.
And because the answer I received, he just said, I didn't actually hear the answer, and what, like, the use is for bed and breakfast. Like,
The use
what
is for overnight, so we really need to stop saying bed and breakfast is what Dave's trying to get us.
Understood, but what I want to know is what will qualify it to be a bed and breakfast? Because in my mind, I'm hearing the reason why we want to do GO is because a hotel motel can go there so they can do a sleepover. Well, you can do sleepover at a bed and breakfast. That's what that is. So,
okay, well, let me explain that a little bit. Under the definition of a bed and breakfast, by definition, under the Unified Zoning Code, as I recall, it is operated by someone who lives at that location.
okay.
And this is not going to have a person living there. It's simply a facility to be rented. We explored the idea of whether or not it would qualify as an event center, but because there would be overnight stay, it does not qualify as an event center.
Okay.
And because no one will be living in the house to operate it as a bed and breakfast, it does not qualify as a bed and breakfast.
Cool, thank you.
Very good. Any other questions in the room? With none, we'll go ahead and take it out to the community. Any questions from the community today?
Anyone on Zoom have any questions, comments, or concerns about this zoning case? DAB members? I'll check the chat. Jamie says no questions.
Is the applicant with us, and would they like to say anything? Camila, do you know if the applicant is with us? Okay, very good. Without that, Don't see any other questions or concerns or comments anyway.
Kayla said nothing. You got both two people that said nothing, and your youth dev member said he doesn't have anything to, so we have.
Fantastic. With that, I'd be happy to take a motion. Motion to approve and second it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Very good.
And DAB members, can you vote through chat, please?
Dave, thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you all.
That's 8-0, by the way. I'll send you the report tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. You can send it to Kathy if you want.
That's what I was gonna say, back to Kathy, okay.
Yep, that'd be fine. Thank you, Camila.
You're welcome, thank you.
So with that, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 9, updates, issues, reports.
Can we start on Zoom, or on Zoom, Ruben, Nikayla, and Jamie, if you guys can type in anything you want us to report back out, that would be great, while everyone else is speaking.
Very good. Wanda, you start on this end.
All right, as we talked about earlier, we are nearing the deadline to register to vote. So this Saturday, October the 10th, we will be rocking the vote at 25th and Hillside, which is 3115 East 25th Street. We're gonna have candidates there dropping in, Patrick Penn is scheduled, Aletha Faust, and Representative Gail Finney, among others. So if you haven't registered to vote, stop on in. We're gonna have DJ, and we're gonna be rocking the vote.
Can you say the location again?
3115 East 25th Street, and that's on the corner of 25th and Hillside. And we mentioned that we lost Mike Kennard. We also lost James Crump. He was a very respected president of the NAACP back in the 90s, and his services will be this Saturday at St. Mark at 10 a.m., 15th and Lorraine. Rock the boat, I'm sorry, the time will be from noon to 7 p.m. So we're giving you all day to come out and get registered.
This Saturday, as well as fourth Saturday, we will host Books and Breakfast at St. Paul AME. It's at 1756 North Hyatt. We give away a bag of food, but also a hot meal for that day. So if you want to come out and get a hot meal and also get a free book for your child, yourself, we will be there from 10 to 11:30. And there's no stipulations, no requirements. So if you want to show up and get a hot meal to go, we will be there.
Go ahead. Thanks.
Just that I hope to still make a good impression, but there's a good chance I will be unavailable November 2nd, the day before Election Day, and not even able to Zoom in. So I'm sorry. I'm like pretty good. I want to be good about attendance, so I apologize. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to vote.
We're good. Zach? Camila, did you have anything from anybody online?
Did you say free groceries?
No, we give out a free bag of food.
Free bag of food. So online, it's remembering that voter registration is being planned for October 11th at Urban League. If we have anybody listening on Facebook, I would just like to share that we're still needing volunteers for neighborhood cleanups taking place these next Saturdays throughout October and November 7th. So if anyone's looking for community service or volunteer hours from 8 to noon, we wrap up early. If we have more volunteers, that would be appreciated. Call Atwater Resource Center, 303-8016.
Fantastic. So it looks like that kind of wraps it up. Anybody interested in the motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second and the.
We're not going to midnight, just been there. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say sign. Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye, Dave. Donahue. I love his background. You get David back. I love it. I'm gonna copy